Hello, today I'm going to demonstrate how DataMiner can monitor an end-to-end IT network that's vendor agnostic. It can have multiple vendor device types in this network. This is our DataMiner HTML5 GUI dashboard. It's all drag and drop. There's no coding involved. I'm starting out with this Edge, one of our Edge node components to show you what the network looks like. Over here on the right are all the device types I have in this network. As you can see, this one's made up of some Cisco switches and Meraki switches and a QNAP network attached storage device. Here I represented the different components with different icons, colored icons. These are all customizable. And as I hover over each one, I can see the state of each device. Like this is Cisco 2955, it's active, it's an IP address, the location, building, floor, things like that, right? And below it is the same representation, except I'm looking at the port status. And so as I highlight here, I can see which ports are up, the status of the ports, the throughput, the name of the ports, and the utilization rate. So as we look at this it's a small IT network, but of course this can be scalable any size with DataMiner, is I have a layer 2 core switch coming in from an ISP, going into a Meraki firewall. These green boxes are my edge or slash access switches. And then I have the blue icons are wireless access points, and the yellow is a network attached storage device. This is a remote VPN teleworker client here. All right, so that's my network, and now let's go show you the power of DataMiner dashboards. So first I'm going to start off with the Meraki firewall. It's a Meraki MX65. I can show some system information, show me clients are on this Meraki firewall. I mean wireless clients in my network. This is my alarms. This is all the status of the different Meraki devices I have, and this is a client count. You see this column here for the client count? These two boxes down here are basically the same representation, but I can see it in a visual graphical way, the distribution of my clients. And as I hover over it, you can see my Meraki firewall has 19 devices and 36% of the capacity. Here is all the clients on my Meraki. It's a time series graph. And this is my summation of all the throughput. I just created this one so I could know when, what time of the days am I, hit my peaks. I scroll down here and it shows all the clients on my 2 APs. And this is over the last 7 days. So this is 24 hours, last 7 days. So I get some different representation of my connected clients. And this is an alarm panel. So I can actually see all the alarms that are on my network. And what's really nice up here is I created a couple of buttons. And so we can do a lot of automation right from our dashboards. And so if I see some things that are troubling here, I can click an email alarm report with all the specific information on this dashboard that I think is important. Or let's say I have a dual redundant inputs into my layer 2 from 2 different ISPs. And let's say I need to fail over from the primary to the secondary. I could actually create an automation script and click on here, and that would execute that script and then do the failover automatically for me. Next, I'm going to go look at the switches. And so I have several different types of switches in this network, as I described earlier. And here's my core switch. It's a Cisco ST300. You can see my throughput on that core switch. This is my firewall. And what I did here is I did a query on the top 5 ports. And I'm just looking at utilization. So I can click on this. This is all dynamic. These would change, as the ports increase and decrease, usage. And so I can click on each one of these and actually see a little chart. This is just a distribution graph of this table here, just to give me a different visualization. And this is a stack graph of all 5 of these. So I can get an idea, where I'm seeing some peaks in my utilization. Here's my access switches, as I showed before. There's 4 of them. And I just want to let you know that these little icons here are telling me the health status of each one of these devices. Green means it's okay, there's no alarms. And if there's a color here, there's some type of alarm. So if I click on this first Meraki switch here, there's no alarms. You can see my alarm table. Let me go down to this 2955. I click on this device. And as you can see, I have one alarm. It's a miner, and it's a temperature chassis alarm. Go to this next 2960, and I have a air disabled on one of my ports. This is a query of the top 10 ports on all my access switches. So I just get an idea like who's the most busiest port right now. As I click on this dynamically will show me, what switch or what device it is, and some specific information like, MAC address, port. This is all configurable. Any of this information is configurable. And then you can also see my utilization. So I can click between the ports and do the same on the top 10 ports in my switch. If I scroll down here, these are my access points. As I showed before, I have 2 access points. No alarms on either one. I did have an alarm earlier because it was disconnected, but it's green now. And here's the clients on all my access points. I did a summation of all the clients, and this is summation of all the bandwidth. All right, this next page is like what I call a DevOps page, where I can go around and troubleshoot, and it just shows the power of DataMiner and the queries and the things we can do to filter on specific elements and parameters and alarms. And so what I did was, this is my network. This contains all my switches. These are all the switches in my network, but I grouped these by access switches. So you'll just see my 4 access switches, core switch, firewall, and so on, and access points. So if I look at my access switches, I'm going to see all 4 here, and this is an alarm panel for just those 4 switches. These are the only alarms on these 4 switches, and I just have one. Down here, which is neat, is I'm showing every port on these 4 switches. And I can scroll down to see if they're up, down, and see what the utilization is. All right, over here, this is the same as this table, except I took one step further, and I'm filtering on this air disabled port to see if I have any air disabled ports in my whole network. And as you can see, I have one. What's really nice with this is I'm going to show you an example of how easy it is to change these queries. As I click right here on this element, I'm going to look at my settings on this table, and what I'm doing is I'm looking at the column operational state. Right now it equals air disabled. But let's just say I want to see all my ports that are down, and it will dynamically show all my ports are down. Like I said, this table is every port. These are just ones that are down across all these switches. I could do the same thing for any of these, type of parameters that occur on the switch. So now I can click up, and I can see just all the ports that are only up. It shows all of them. This only shows the ones that are up. Here, let's go look at this network visual. And so in DataMiner, we can actually visualize a lot of our network elements in a really cool graphical way to give you a better understanding of what a network might look like. And this is all real time. As information changes, you'll see it real time. So this is just another view of my network. The layer 2, the Meraki firewall, my access switches, my access points. I'm showing I have 8 clients on this access point and only 2 on this access point. There's my network attached storage device. So what's neat with this is I can look at here, and if I have a color like this blue here, that means there's an alarm on it. I have a temperature alarm. So this is the Cisco 2955, and I can quickly select between all these different switches or devices. So I'm going to hit on the 2955 to see what's going on. And so it's showing me right here that I have a temperature alarm. It's 60 degrees, right? I don't have really any other alarms, but if I want to look at another switch, I could click on the 2960. Oh, this one does have an alarm. I'm not looking at that specific port on my table here, but this has the if op state port I showed earlier. All right. Down here, I just did a few more things where I have all the ports and the selected bandwidth. So let's go to the next one. This is the NAS. This is the Network Attached Storage Device, and this is going to show you the power of all the KPI and all the information we can bring into our dashboards, right? So I'm showing some system chassis information. Here's my CPUs. There's 2 CPUs, so I got both lines here. I can see how both CPUs are doing. My memory, my system fan, it's okay. RPMs for the fan. Here's my storage pools. I have 2 hard drives in this storage, in this pool. And this shows my disk temperature, shows my IOPS, input outputs, if something was going on right now. This is used mostly for backup, so I'm not doing any backups right now. That's my normal latency. Here's my Ethernet ports, and they're both down right now. And down here's my alarms. And as I said, right now, this is normally used for backup, and I probably did a backup right there. So this is just showing all the data, the different parameters and different information we can pull in from different devices. And finally, this is just what I call a switch port analysis. So I'm looking at all the switches that are only up in my network. And I created a query, and this is a table of them. And this is the distribution of all these switches based on throughput. Okay? And this is a different way to look at these 3 components: table, bar chart, pie chart. See, as I hover over it, I can find my distribution and the throughput on port 7. Now, let's say I click on this port right here, trunk. All right, I'm dynamically going to fill in all this information on where this trunk port or this port is located. It's on the 2955. Here's my information on the switch. And I can click on these parameters right here, and it'll give me a graph, right? I can click on temperature, CPU, and here's my temperature. This is the one where I have an alarm on it, right? It turned blue, so I have an alarm here. These are healthy. Down here are all the ports for this 2955. So now I can actually look at my port here, click on it. It's going to show me the switch, the ports on, the information, and down here it's going to show me all the ports specifically for that switch. So I hope this was a good introduction in DataMiner dashboards and the power of it to do an end-to-end, single pane of glass, and it's vendor agnostic. Thank you.